right. It's all right. It says we're live. So welcome from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience. Just put them in the chat or email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I have a Patreon page and all that other stuff. It's all listed down there in the info below there on YouTube. So I'm going to say, that's it on my opening. Nice and short. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got in the room so far. First in today, I believe, was Jason Stewart. Then came Guns and Barbecue, Two Gun Kitty, John Brown Productions, Sabrina's here, Two Live Moo, Muscle Dog is here. So we're just getting started. On my panel so far, we've got Guns and Barbecue. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for the invite.
All right. Then we got Jason Stewart.
Afternoon, Rick. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Then we got Willed and Well Armed. How you doing?
I'm good, Rick. Thank you for asking us to be on the panel. No
problem. I don't know if anybody else is going to join us. I mean, it's Saturday in the summer. People are out doing stuff, so I don't blame them. I got an email from Patriot. He's not going to make it. He's got a house full of girls. His daughter's friends are all over there, so he can't keep an eye on them and be on the computer at the same time. So anyway, let's get started. Hope this turns into a good conversation or other people join us. My first thing on my topic line was, have the cops got out of control? Now, in my opinion, I've said this before. I've said this for a couple of years now. I think they've got around the country. I know they're all different. They're run by the city, the states, and, the towns, the mayors, and all this kind of stuff. But they seem to have got militarized, in my opinion. I mean, when they come out on the streets, it looks like it's a goddamn army in black or blue uniforms, And then lately, of course, since this civil unrest, every little thing they're doing is being highlighted. Now, do they deserve to be fired? And the fired, I would agree with. But do they need to be charged with assault? I mean, where I'm going with this, don't get me, how to say it. I don't know if I'm too callous or I'm not looking at it right. But that latest one where the 70-year-old or 75-year-old got pushed over and hit his head. He was in hospital and it was bad. They not only fired 2 policemen, they're charging them now with assault, I think. And I don't know. It just seems because they're scared now. They're running scared because of the rioting that's going on. And, and I don't know. Then of course, yes, I agree that what it all started with, really, to me, what it started with was, you can name them back, but recently it's the girl down in Kentucky here, just below only a 45, 50-minute drive from me, where she was shot 8 times without no-knock warrant. Then George Floyd up there. I mean, that was absolutely totally wrong. So now you got the 75-year-old guy pushed over, and those police are in trouble now. And it's just, it seems, I mean, then people are crying out to defund the police. If they're going to defund the police, they better have something else lined up before they do it, because they think it's bad now without a police force or some sort of thing to, it'll be total anarchy out there.
You don't think social workers could step in and help?
Oh, hell no. No. So, it needs something now. I think and else is what's getting me. What's really getting me is, I'm a member of the United States Concealed Carry Association, thinking you get their bi-monthly magazine or whatever it is, and I got this latest issue for May and June, and I'm reading it, and it's all about concealed carry, what the cops use, and what to do if you get stopped by the cops for a traffic violation, and all this, and it's so slanted that the cops are the greatest people in the world. Cops are human, but they're not even cops. I mean, they're law enforcement officers. They're not even policemen anymore. Because because what that Supreme Court case said, they don't have to protect anybody now. So I don't think the police need to be reformed in some ways, but they don't need to go away. Everybody's got their bad apples. Like Muscle Dog says, cop needs to be reformed. Department should be focused on stopping violent crime. The practice of police departments making revenue from traffic stops and asset what's the word I'm looking for?
Civil asset forfeiture?
Yeah. Needs to be halted. That's what Muscle Dog's saying. And, I kind of agree with him on that. Hey, Black Cat Outdoors just joined us. Joe G-Webs is here too. So, good to see you. So, that's my fear. That's my thoughts so far. Yes, they need to be fixed, reformed, go after the violent criminal, but it's the.
Rick, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the three other cops that watched and did nothing?
They've got arrested and they're getting charged too. Oh yeah,
but two of them. One of them was on the job 3 days, and the second one was on the job 4 days. So the guy that actually had his knee on there, he was the training officer. It kind of puts things in a different light for me after finding that out.
Well, look at it this way. That's the training officer that they, had for that guy. And that guy's had something like 18 complaints about
brutality.
We'll just say brutality. Let's say where he was using excessive force. That's what I was looking for. Excessive force. Yeah. Is that really who should have been training in the first place? Then still, those officers, I don't know what it's like in Minnesota, but here in Pennsylvania, the police academy is 6 months. Whether they were on the job or not for 3 or 4 days, they still had plenty of training where they could have said, this isn't right. Something's going on here. They could have asked for captain, things like that, and said, this guy, I don't like what's going on right now. It's a bad situation. Now, would that have possibly gone against them later on the job? Absolutely. It very well could have happened. I've seen plenty law enforcement officers around here that have spoke out against another, and then all of a sudden they're blackballed. And that's a big issue. If you can't stand up and say, hey, somebody's doing something wrong without risking your job, then the police are out of control. With those Buffalo officers, what they did, I see that as aggravated assault. If I would push an elderly man like that and he falls, hits his head, and is bleeding out of his ear, it's not like he scratched his head or got a gash. No, that was blood coming out of his ear because something inside had ruptured because he hit with such force. That's aggravated assault. I'd be in jail. And the cops are not above the law. And they should be held to a higher standard because they're supposed to know the laws and be acting with more decorum. But as soon as And I didn't hear that they got fired. Last I heard that those 2 officers were only suspended. But so then, this whole back the blue thing, all the officers in Buffalo there on that response squad walk off the job, back in their buddies, instead of saying, you know what, he probably shouldn't have done that. If this was anybody else, we'd have him behind bars right now.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from on that. So, anybody else got some input? Let's get this conversation going here. What about who was that? That was Guns, right?
Yep.
I'm not looking at my screen right now. That's why I had to stop and look. And I'm not used to your voice yet. All right. So, Jason, you got any input on it?
Yeah, I'll agree with you that maybe there needs to be a change in the current police policies and procedures, because you know as well as I, it used to be different. Years ago, a police officer wore a tie. He was a little more respected. He was a problem solver. Now they're just tactical with a tactical mindset, and it's, you know what I mean? That's just how they act. And like how up there in Buffalo, and they did that old man, there was no common sense in that. They can cry and hide behind their training, and they have to stay in rank and all this and that. That overrides common sense. You didn't have to do that to an old man. And for that, they should be held responsible for it. And it should be a wake-up call to, like, their tactics and their policies and what they do every day does need to change. Now, I know they're in an extremely tough job, and they're walking that fine line, but they change to be who they are now. They can change to be something different too.
Absolutely. And also, we're to blame as a society. I mean, like I'm saying, the way people have been raised in the last 30 years too. They have no. But as you said, the police department's changed. My respect for a policeman, I'll be polite to them, because I don't want them to throw me up against the side of the wall and arrest my ass for something I haven't done. Like if I get a traffic stop.
But that lies another problem there, Rick. You shouldn't be afraid of that. If they're doing what they're supposed to do and not out of control, you should never be afraid that if you are a little backhanded with them, that they're going to assault you, that they're going to violate your rights.
Well, see, that's the problem. And I think a lot of people think the same way as that, because they're out of control all over the country. There's got to be some good cops there somewhere, I suppose. But what scares me more than anything, maybe I'm being
hold on. There were 44 million arrests last year, direct police versus human, contacts and arrest, and only of those this year, I don't know if it's 3 or 9, where it resulted in a killing of a guy that was in handcuffs or a non-threatening situation. But things are improving. It's just, there's a camera on everybody.
Yeah. Well, anyway, real quick, we're going to keep on this topic, but I want to say Sabrina, who's in the chat here, she lives in the Netherlands. So it's in the wee hours of the morning there. But as she said, now this is what you got to worry about. If you see the news, this is in her country. On the news, how many times there are dead victims by cops in your country, and mostly people with a colored skin. That's ridiculous. For me, unacceptable. See, even overseas, they're saying that that's what's happening over here. Which,
Well, when you bring the race part into it, part of that is media. They're doing it because it's going to get ratings. I know they can sensationalize it, things like that. When you look at the statistics, just as many whites are killed as blacks by police every year. Now, you could say, well, what? Black people only make up, 30 or 40% of the population. So there's still a bit of a disparity, but there's a lot that ends up going into that. But the only reason you see that being reported on the news like that is because not many people are going to care when it's the black guy. They know that, or excuse me, the white guy. They know that they can stir things up by playing that race card.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I remember. I think I've told this story before on here. I mean, this is going back years. I mean, this is going back. My father told me, and then when I moved here a couple of years ago, my cousin told me the story again. That he remembers his parents talking about it. I mean, racism in this country has come a long, long way, but it's still there. But where I'm going with this is back here we're in the backwoods of Indiana here, and way back, I think this was the late 40s, early 50s. Even here in Indiana, a black guy had died in a road accident, and all the churches refused to let him be buried in their cemetery. A farmer eventually said, a farmer whose field backed up to the cemetery said, you can bury him here on my property in the cornfield next to the the fence. And that's what they did. Today that where he's buried is now part of the cemetery because they bought the land, so they got more room for more graves. But that's the way it was. I don't think it's that bad today. It's still there. There's still people that, I mean, you still, prejudice is still there, but not as bad as it was. And I don't know if it's ever going to be eradicated here in the United States. I don't know. I can't see why it can't be, but it's just a strange one. Anyway, I tell you what, let's get New York Outcast. Are you there?
Hello, yep.
Okay. We're talking about where I said cops are out of control. What's your take on it?
Yeah, well, I'd start back at like the training part if I can. I do know in New York, it requires some places an academy, this and that. New York is 2 semesters of criminal justice, so you do have some knowledge of the job before you're actually on the job, in a sense, or at least of the laws and how you should be somewhat treating people. Granted, I would say every area probably has different directives on how to handle certain things, but I can state, looking in travels recently, I've learned that a lot of places don't require much at all to be an officer. I believe it was a high school diploma and a clean record, and you can be in. So that's something that may be an issue. So I assume across the country, training's probably different. Like I know requirements are different. So and obviously training is different as well. So maybe something a more uniformed across the board training or expectations would probably be ideal. Granted, the East doesn't set the best example, especially from what we see from New York City recently here, as far as how they deal with people. So not saying that with the extra time in school it makes it any better. I think that falls back to how they handle things locally. So I just thought I'd add that. So, some people might be shocked, but in some places you really don't need much to be an officer at all. Sorry, I got lost on the middle section and stuck on the race part. I would state the race part, growing up in a small town, I dealt with a lot of racism in a sense. So I can't compare it to what it was like, 50s, 60s or whatever. I'm not there. I can't speak for that. I can say I've seen a lot of racism. I'm not saying it's like destroying our country or anything. It's not a handicap.
But has it got better in your lifetime so far?
Yeah, I've seen a bit. I've been, people hear my name, sometimes they think one thing, and then when I show up, they think another. And I've been not allowed to stay at sleepovers and different things, a lot of things. I don't want to turn this into a sob story, but it seems to be pockets of areas though, and it's not everywhere. It's not abroad. I don't think people should use it as an excuse on a daily basis. And there's also, a lot of racist black people. I'm kind of a, outcast is a name, but it's kind of a lifestyle in a sense. I was too black for part of my family and too white for the other part. So there is a lot of racism within different, different genders or not genders, ethnicities. I can't even speak. I think you guys know what I'm saying. Across the board, there is a lot of divide. I think that's just a human tribal thing that's, in a sense, will always be there. There's learned responses. People have bad reactions with certain people. People only get shown certain sides of certain people or races. So you're kind of, in a sense, predictive programmed, which I feel is a big part of the urban culture because it kind of sets people right up to be, kind of set forth into the system. But that's a whole different argument. So basically, yes, in the end, I think there is racism in our country. I don't think it's as big as the media makes it seem. And I don't think it's as out in people's faces in a lot of places, although there is still some places, even here in New York State, where certain people are just better off not being, because there is a good chance you're going to get messed with.
Yeah. Okay. Muscle Dog said in the chat, he highlighted my name. That's why I'm reading it here. Why is it harder to keep a bounty license than it is to remain a cop? Just say as a bounty, you have way less power and have to do way more regular training in most states. So, I mean, yeah, you got a good point there. I don't know enough about bounty, how that actually works. But, yeah, cops, and also about cops, I'm going to read what Rich White said, too, here. He's about ready to, let me read Rich's first. He goes, if I were the Buffalo cop, I have knocked the old bastard down, too. I have no sympathy for idiots who don't listen to a lawful order to stop at a police barricade. He got what he deserved for being stupid. I wouldn't put it in those exact words, but that's what I was trying to say at the very beginning of the show when I talked on that subject, where, yes, you fired the two policemen for maybe they were being over aggressive, but the guy did something wrong. Why should he, get all the sympathy and everything else, and
what's his mental capacity?
Why does that violent? Okay, they could have just cuffed the guy and put him away. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to become a physical issue unless physical harm is brought upon you. What I don't like is that police get scared and they shoot everybody or beat the hell out of them. You or I get in an issue and we touch somebody and we're in trouble. I don't see why they're held to a different standard, personally. And I'm not speaking all cops or against all police, but when you're in a job like that, you understand you're taking some risk. So, you're prepared, you're trained, you're wearing body armor. Don't be a pussy.
Yeah. Who hasn't jumped in on this? We got your opinion yet, Well Armed?
I saw a thing in a DC guy that got hit by a rubber bullet, and he got hit about 5 times. He had a whelp on the side of his forehead, that was huge. It looked like a ping pong ball. Those bullets are 40 millimeters. They're the grenade launcher. I had no idea that the rubber bullets were, 40 millimeters. That's 4 centimeters across. I've shot those grenade launchers. It's like a dirty sock ball going down range. You can see that thing. I can't imagine getting hit by one in the head. If you're going to shoot a rubber bullet like that, it should not be at head level. I can tell you that. I'd say legs and torso down, but a head injury, that's pretty serious. A big rubber ball coming out at that velocity.
Yeah. What about on the other stuff? How do you feel about the police department in this country?
Well, I think, even the older guy, he just stood there and, there was a formation coming that was coming to clean out that park. I've been at Mardi Gras on the last night on Fat Tuesday at midnight, and those horses come through, and you're a fool if you're going to be trampled over. It's kind of the same thing. So I'm kind of would back the police more than anything. I think it's a shame, to hold a guy on a knee, for 8 minutes. That's completely wrong. That should have never happened. I don't think there was anything racial about it, but this guy was a criminal. He was pulled over for a nonviolent crime, but he had been in jail for home invasion, pointing a gun at a pregnant lady. So I mean, he's not an angel. So if they knew he had this criminal violent record, I don't know if they knew that at the time, or but he also had meth in his system when he died, and fentanyl.
Yeah,
but none of that matters. You don't get to say, well, this guy's a violent offender from before, so we get to kill him now. It doesn't work that way. Say you only get to do what.
No, it doesn't. But we don't know what all was cut out of the film, because there were a lot of different gaps in that filming.
It still doesn't matter. You got to watch 8 minutes of a police officer sitting there with his knee on a guy's neck. The guy has given up. He's handcuffed. Hands are behind his back. At any time, he could have been picked up, put in the police cruiser. If they were worried that he was going to become combative after they got off of him, there's a total of 4 officers there. One officer grabs an arm, another officer grabs another arm, and the other 2 officers each grab a leg, and you toss them in the back of the cruiser and take them to jail.
I'm completely with you. I don't think he should have been pinned down like that for more than 30 seconds. But
the problem is saying, well, we don't know what happened before. Well, what happened beforehand doesn't matter. I made the point before. What if
it does matter? You don't know what happened.
No, it doesn't.
You don't know what happened. If you don't know what happened, he could have been hitting them when, it's just like when they have the raid roach after a 30-minute car chase. Those cops their adrenaline's going. You don't know what happened.
But 8 minutes passed where they could have got him into the cruiser. I said, if he would have shot a gun at these officers beforehand, would you be okay with them having him handcuffed on the ground and them saying, well, he shot at us beforehand, I'm going to take out my sidearm and just execute him right here?
And no, I'd have a problem. I have a problem with the 8 minutes, but
yeah, I mean, your past record should have nothing to do with what you're being stopped for or searched for at that time.
Well, really? I mean, I don't know what information the policemen were given before, but if they said,
if they said he was armed,
they look at the license plate and say the owner of this car is armed and dangerous, or has felony multiple risk of home invasion. You don't know what they actually knew about him.
But again, it doesn't matter. Let's say he's on the ground, he's restrained, he's not combative.
Yeah.
What else needs to happen to get him up and into the car? Nothing that happened prior is relevant at that point, because now you got to look at, he's not combative, he's restrained, get him up, get him in the car. They know what positional asphyxiation is. When I worked corrections, that's one of the first things they told us. You get into something physical, guys on the ground, you need to get them up as quick as possible, because positional asphyxiation will set in minutes. And if that sets in, it's, from what they told us, was 100% death rate. Once positional asphyxiation sets in, they're dead. There's no bringing them back.
Yeah. Oh, just real quick, back to the cop training and stuff. Muscle Dog said cops are not trained to be social workers, and people should not expect them to be. Again, this stuff doesn't happen in places where we vote on our law enforcement 99% of the time. That's what he thinks. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, out there, I mean, where your sheriff is voted on, he will normally try to run a decent department, because if he wants to get reelected, people have got to like the way he's keeping law and order in the town or the county, whatever he's doing. But it still comes down, overall, I mean, there's the what about, I can't think where it was, where that Australian film crew, how Australian film crew got here in the United States with no fly bans and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. But when they were walking down the street, he was filming and the policeman just hit him in the stomach, then punched him in the head, and he was the press. What happened to freedom of the press? So, I mean, to me, I think the police departments are out of control. They seem to, I mean, Muscle Dog saying they're not social workers. True, they're not. But they used to be, you could go up to a cop and ask him a question, and he might be able to put you in the right. Today they seem to hire a lot of ex-military because they want that mindset is you're given an order and you're going to do it. So they say, clear this street. They are going to clear it like they would if they were in the Army. That's that mindset, and that's what needs to change. I mean, the policeman needs to go back to the way he was.
What really needs to change is the tactics they use. They need to go back to de-escalation. Let's say, like in Buffalo, when with a 75-year-old man, there had how many officers there? If they gave him a direct lawful order and he disobeyed it, they could have just as easily cuffed him, hauled him away. No reason to escalate the situation by shoving down a 75-year-old guy who, again, we don't know his mental capacity or anything. Maybe he has Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that, and not thinking clearly and causing him internal bleeding. Again, that's aggravated assault.
Yeah. Now,
it's there was a change a while ago. Basically, I mean, it was peace officers, as people used to refer to them as, and for a long time it was community policing, and that's a little more back to the way I think a lot of people would prefer it was. But obviously, as y'all know, it's changed quite a bit, and now it's pretty much more kind of militarized. So it does seem like they're a lot more heavy-handed than they should be. And again, just like he stated, we would catch a charge for something like that. So I don't understand why it's okay for them to do that. And in a sense, every individual could be a possible mental case or physical disabilities, or you don't know who you're dealing with when you're dealing with somebody. So force should, in my opinion, only be escalated as needed, and not just direct, drop you down, wrap you up, and throw you to the side. Because in a lot of cases, some people are, I can't think of the right word, but a lot of people have issues, different types out there. So you got to be careful whenever you're getting physical with somebody, in my opinion.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there when you said meeting the force with force. That's a lot of the trainings I've had. It wasn't, well, they shoved me, so I get to punch them in the face. You don't escalate the situation. You might meet force with equal force, but you're trying to get the situation ended, not just keep escalating it.
Correct, in my opinion. I always think of the lady in New Orleans that showed the officer she had a revolver, and they just slam her against the wall and tackle her down and things like that. I mean, obviously that's another extreme example, but that, to me, that's way far overbearing. And honestly, she was legal, so they should have left it with her anyway. But why put a lady like that in that type of, I just don't understand it. It seems like some of these officers are scared of their own shadow.
Hey, Night Strike, you haven't said a word. You got any input on this?
I don't know. I don't feel like bashing on cops. At the same time, I would just like them to remember that, hey, if you're a cop, you're still a civilian too. And even though it's your job to enforce the law, that does not mean you are above the law. And that's all.
Yeah. Now, what's called it? Rich Wright says, go back to the old ways. You mean when certain police departments had an SOP of brutality using nightsticks and blackjacks? You're drinking the media Kool-Aid. When I personally say go back to the old ways. Now, you got to remember, guys, I'm in my 60s. And it's even the British police have changed. And I've noticed it here when I was a kid here in the States, when I was growing up. I mean, we used to see more. I mean, like the policeman would be driving around and he would stop a car, roll his window down or whatever, stop and talk to people and stuff like that, or even walk the beat. They don't even do that anymore.
Hold up, Rick. There are two contrasting differences between the police in the United States and the police in England.
What I was just talking about was what I saw here.
Yeah, and in England, they don't have guns. The police don't have guns. They run away. They run away if the perpetrator has a weapon, because they don't.
More cops in England carry guns now than what you believe. Most of them carry concealed now. You know, but back in England when I was a kid, the policeman used to walk the beat. And also, if you misbehaved, the policeman would smack you on the back of the head and tell you not to do it again. You know, but those days are over. So, all right. What else is going on?
Rick, are you speaking from personal experience?
Yes. Yes.
I think you brought up something else good there, Rick.
I mean, I would, and actually, what I actually got smacked on the back of the head for was for smoking underage. He caught me smoking, me and a friend, and he whacked us on the back of the head, took my cigarettes away from me, and smacked me on the back of the head and said, "Don't let me catch you again."
Well, Rick, I would have smacked you too at that point.
Yeah. But when I was a kid over here, I said the cop would be driving down the street, if we're playing, sandlot baseball or football or whatever, they would stop the car and have a look and talk to us and stuff like that. They don't do that kind of shit today. Well, I don't see it anyway.
Yeah. Back in the day, they would be part of the community. Now they don't want to be part of the community. They just want to do their job and go home.
Well, it was community policing in a sense, and now it's you and them in a sense, is what it seems. So
yeah, and that's what's happened. It's become them against us.
Yeah, I
personally don't like it. And back to what I was saying is, I shouldn't be scared when the siren goes on behind me and I pull over.
Exactly, a lot of people are.
My heart starts pounding, and I'm thinking, what in the hell now? And I shouldn't be feeling that way, right? Also, because I can still carry now. And I have to, Indiana, you don't have to tell them, I don't think. I have to look it up. But I know you didn't have to in Rhode Island, which I found very surprising.
You better figure that out.
Anti-gun state, But even now, when they come to the window, that's one of the first things I'll say to them. When they say you want to see your license and insurance, I said, and I've done this twice now. My hands on the steering wheel. I said, before I move, I wanted to let you know that I have a license. I said, I'm carrying a firearm. I didn't say gun because I didn't want to scare the hell out of them. I said, I'm carrying a firearm. What do you want me to do? Because I don't want to get shot if he sees the gun as I'm leaning over or whatever, And there's no way. I mean, I shouldn't be worried about shit like that. But that is my perception of the police force today.
Well, that's a lot of people's.
A
lot of people's perceptions. I can think of several times where people have called the police for help and ended up having issues due to it. So it gets to the point, I know around my neighborhood, a lot of the times people don't even bother anymore because it's either they won't do nothing or they want to look at them for some reason. A guy found a cell phone, a 67-year-old guy at the laundromat, tried to turn it in. The police came to arrest him. and then like came back 2-3 times trying to get him to admit that he stole the cell phone. So basically, I went down to court with him. They were nice enough to let me talk, and the judge ended up throwing it out. The guy had no record, nothing. Finds a cell phone, and they want to send him, not send him to jail, but they want to hit him with the charge for it. So it's ridiculous. So it seems
that's just not doing your job. That sounds like
it's crazy. Well, it's putting a whole bunch of effort when
blatant ignorance.
Officers over to harass a guy with a cane and push him up against the back of his house, trying to get him to admit that he stole a cell phone. So, and while yelling at me to go back inside, like I ain't going inside. So I mean that's unfortunately that's what I see. So it's a damn shame.
I mean, also what I've noticed over the years, people have, the young or everybody now has lost respect for the policeman. If a policeman told you to, back off, go away, or, if the policeman was going somewhere and you were stepping in his way, he would say, move out of the way, and stuff. Today, the person would just stand there and say, no, I ain't moving. There's no respect for him anymore.
Well, part of that is, it'd be one thing if they're just walking down the street and you're going to be like that. That's one thing. But, when go back to the Minneapolis thing, they're telling these people, get back, and all these things. They're giving unlawful orders. Those people are doing nothing wrong. They're on a sidewalk. They're not involving themselves. They're just videoing, and they don't want to be videoed. And honestly, if they're not doing anything wrong, there should be no problem being videoed. But part of the issue is a lot of people are figuring out what their rights are these days. And the days when people would just say, oh, that's what the officer said, and that's right, it's not happening anymore.
Yeah. Oh, Patriot in the Dark, instead of being on the panel, because he did pop in, and he's got a question for you guys here on the panel. He wants to know, ask the panel to define liberty versus freedom. Who wants to start on that one?
Freedom is the act of living under liberty.
Well, there you go. So, to me, they're liberty versus freedom. It's what you said there. They're almost, to me, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're synonyms. I don't think they're at all conflicting with each other. You can't have liberty without freedom or freedom without liberty.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That's the way I look at it anyway. So, and are we losing it with the way the police are today? I feel, to me, I feel, I said, even living out here in Indiana in the country, right? I feel that, the police think we're guilty and we got to prove ourselves innocent instead of the other way around.
I recently, Christmas, I had a policeman, not run in, but my car was parked next to a Target, but it was one of those Targets that are kind of built in a new settlement. There's about 50 stores around it, so it's kind of like a brand new downtown, just in the middle of town. But somebody parked in that blued out area in front of and gave me about 6 inches to get in my car. Maybe it was 12 inches, but it was just too narrow for, to get a wheelchair in between. I couldn't get in the passenger side and get over. So I went to a policeman and I said, hey, can you tow this guy? And he goes, no, this is private property. I can't even ticket him. So he got in my car. I said, well, before you get in my car and back it up, I do have a gun in there. He's like, oh, that's perfectly fine. You can have one. He goes, and he went on and thanked me for carrying one and being a responsible citizen.
Yeah. Oh, G-Web says freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one who wants without hindrance or restraint. And liberty is the ability to be free in a society. That's G-Web's version of it, which is, that's correct too. All I want to do is live. What does the Declaration of Independence, pursuit of happiness and stuff like that? That's all I want. Leave me alone. I won't bother you. Don't bother me. Is that asking too much?
I don't think it's happiness. I think it's happenstance, which means to be left alone to create your own path forward.
Yeah.
So it's not happiness. You're not given the right to happiness. You're given the right to happenstance.
But that isn't how it's spelt in the Declaration, is it?
Happiness is not spelled there. No.
Yeah. So, all right. So, you think some of the stuff going on in the chat besides the liberty and freedom discussion is if the police chiefs in major towns and cities are appointed by the mayor normally. Do you think those positions should be voted in? Would it make a difference to how the departments are run or not? I think it wouldn't. I think they would run worse in some, especially in cities, because of the corruption that could happen. Because if you're voting somebody into a position, especially in a big city, take Chicago, for instance. If that police chief was voted in, all they'll be worried about is their political career, not actually law and order. Is the way I look at it. So, anyway, I don't know. But I still think it's I know what the problem is. I don't have the solution except for better training, maybe. Better training and get out of this military mindset the police have got into. As a law-abiding citizen, I am not their enemy, but they're making me their enemy, which isn't right.
I feel better training, and I'm not really a fan of the whole union, how they basically cover, like, jump on everything.
They do.
We don't have the same set of rules. You and I,
because of the union, a good example, go back to what we do, concealed carry, right? If we get into an altercation and we shoot somebody, they expect us to talk about it right away.
Oh yeah, and we're going downtown. That's for sure.
I think they're allowed from anywhere from 48 to 72 hours.
Yeah, 3 days.
They speak to anybody.
3 days to speak with their attorney and
But we're not allowed that privilege.
They want to go through it. Yeah, because
that's part of the other issue.
Crucial, and a lot of things are lost in memory, or a lot of things are told in a way that could be used against you. So that's why they get the 3 days, but you don't. So that's another, I don't know.
But that's part of the other issue is people need to know their rights and say, I want an attorney, and just shut up after that.
True. But a lot of people end up with a free attorney, not a lot of people, but people out there that can't really afford attorney end up with a
public defender.
Yeah, and to this day, I really ain't met one of those that really cares. To me, it seems
because they got so much. They're juggling.
Yeah, it's just
cases,
another case under their thing, and it always seems like they want to settle with things. And that's
there's that.
They don't want to actually do the work.
There's that, and the money that it's not even that they don't want to do the work, but the money that's put into the defense side by our government as opposed to the prosecution side is like, I believe, your DAs and everything like that. For every dollar that's spent on them, public defenders get 48 cents.
That wouldn't surprise me. But back to what I was saying on if we as concealed carry holders shoot somebody, that's why I belong to the U.S. CCA because of their network of lawyers they have. You call them up straight away, and they can connect you to a lawyer who knows what they're doing. It depends on which level of insurance you get through them on how much you get.
Or you can obtain your own counsel too, Rick.
What?
You can obtain your own counsel.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Have somebody already in mind, or kind of vetted somebody or research, so you're not locked into their newest.
You're right. But it's nice to know that's there. That's all I'm saying. That's the only reason I do it. And
how many people have a attorney on retainer? Not many. And a lot of people, they don't have the money saved up to have that attorney on retainer. So I like the idea of USCCA in the fact that, if something does go wrong, well, you're paying them, anywhere from like $30 to $50 a month, depending on the tier that you pick, to have that attorney on retainer and somebody who's going to be knowledgeable in firearm defense and the self-defense situations, as opposed to something happens, now I've got to get a public defender.
Plus, an attorney on retainer costs a lot more than USCCA does a month.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know why
you're still paying once you engage that attorney, versus USCCA, where your coverage pays for that, unless you're found guilty of a crime. I assume. I mean, if you cried wolf and they find out, if you Whiskey Warrior did or something, then you're probably going to be responsible for all that. But if you're if you're on the up and up, you're good to go.
I think USCCA actually has a disclaimer where they say, we'll cover you if it was a clean shoot. I mean, obviously that's not verbatim or anything. I'm summarizing, but yeah, I'm pretty sure if you look somewhere, there is actually a disclaimer they made.
Yeah, there is. I've read the thing. There is. If it shows or comes up that you're, it wasn't exactly kosher type thing, that they ain't going to pay, or what they've paid so far, you got to pay them back.
Yeah.
So yeah, but also here you go, guys. I know it's off subject, but since we're on that, is, as you said, the USS. Now here you go. They don't advertise it, but I only pay. Is it $13.99 a month for mine? Now mine's called the Silver Plan. They don't advertise it anymore. It's the lowest one they do, and you get the bare minimum. Right? At one time, when I actually, it was 2 years. A year and a half ago, before I moved here, I called them up and said, "Well, I got to cancel my. I don't want to, but I got to cancel my subscription because I can't afford it anymore." And they're the ones that said, "Well, we still have the plan at 13 so and so. It only gives you like $25,000 for coverage or something like this, and only." Or to 25, or only up to $2,000 bail money, or so. It's real low. The only reason I went with that is because here in Indiana, I can't be sued civilly. There's some law here in Indiana. If I get into a shooting, the family cannot sue me.
Well, that's one of the reasons. A defense case like that on average is about $65,000. So
yeah, I know.
Right. So if you're talking 25, that's a big difference, Rick.
I know. I plan on increasing it, but I was just letting people know if they're having financial issues, tell them you can't afford it and drop it. That way, at least you still got coverage. You still got access to everything they offer, even a lawyer if you need one in a pinch. So that's all I was mentioning it before. So, to be honest with you, I've been lazy. It's not that I just haven't thought about increasing it. I'm going to increase it, but I just haven't done it. So
I'd recommend you do. So
yeah, I plan to. I haven't thought about it in a long time, and talking about it just now made me think, well, I better increase that back again.
Especially the expert witness. That stuff costs a lot of money when they're pulling people in. So
oh yeah,
the average case is on like 65 if you're in a fairly gun-friendly state. So
yeah, but I think
New York, California, you expect it to be probably double that. So
oh yeah. I was reading somewhere. I mean, just for a lawyer, I mean, for him to look at you, to get started, it's $50,000. Here want up front. I don't even have 50 cents, let alone $50,000. You know what I'm saying?
And that probably doesn't count all their legal aids, all their assistants that do the running around, the travel.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're paying a couple $100 an hour for them, and any paperwork expenses, things like that. They love passing costs on you. So
yeah. Anyway, moving. I got another topic. If we want to carry on, is whatever happened to? Where's the COVID-19 gone? I don't hear about it anymore. Are we all back to normal now?
No, all the riders got it.
Yeah, they're actually using the riders right now as a social experiment to see, all these people are out there, no masks or anything like that, close contact. So now they're just waiting to see how it balloons with them.
Oh, okay. I mean, because like yesterday, I got my Social Security check yesterday, so I went to shopping, do my main monthly grocery shopping at Walmart. I mean, they still have the entrances where you got to enter and an exit. It's all separated. But I finally get in there, and this Walmart has about, I don't know, 15 or so electric disabled carts. All right. There's only 6 working. The rest of them are in the back of the warehouse waiting to get repaired. I was talking to some old boy. I had to wait 30 minutes to get an electric cart yesterday. Right. And I was talking to this old boy. I said, well, where are they all at? He goes, oh, they're in the back. He said, we have the repair guy comes once a month. So I finally got one, and I done my shopping yesterday. But where I was going with this is, besides an entrance and an exit, they got all separated. Oh, they also have the things on the floor now, direction, which that's an up aisle, that one's a down aisle. And if it's a down aisle and it's got do not enter, so nobody's paying a goddamn attention to it. People are doing whatever they want. Very few masks people are wearing. To me, it was just like a normal day in Walmart. But I did notice there was no guns on display, because the Walmarts here sell rifles. Yeah. There wasn't one on display.
Yeah, I heard they were pulling them in light of all this stuff happening, just in case people decided to come in and start smashing and grabbing. They didn't want anybody to smash and grab guns or ammo.
Yeah.
Rick, it sounds like you're talking different from last week. Last week you said you don't want a new normal. Now it sounds like you're complaining that people aren't following the new normal this week.
No, we're going back to the normal, what I want. I'm loving it. I want the normal. I don't need a new normal.
All right. You still need something there, Rick, ammunition or something that you can ask, and they have it in a secure room somewhere in the store is what they're claiming. So if you are there looking for something like that, ask, and they're supposed to get it for you, from what I've heard. So
yeah, you try finding.
Yeah,
ask.
20 minutes later, yeah, just to
mind you, there was some young. To me, she was young. She was in her 30s, right? She goes, well, I was actually in the grocery section, and I was asking for something. They rearranged some of the shelves in there, and I couldn't find I couldn't find my A1 sauce. They moved it on me. And I said, where's the A1 sauce gone? She goes, I don't know. She said, I've only been here a day. She said, but I'll help you find it. And she's walking down the aisle, and her ass is, oh, man. But I'm getting totally off subject.
Well done, Rick.
Yeah. Hey,
I
so
saw-
I asked her something
Yeah.
else further down.
How many other things did you ask her to find after that?
Yeah, I did ask her a couple of times.
Everything's on the top shelf.
You know, but so that's normal for me. That maybe, you know, I thought, man, she just started. I got to come more often, you know. But anyway, that's totally off topic. But it's COVID-19, so I mean, I guess up there where you're at, New York, it's still going strong. I take it.
Yeah, you still gotta wear a mask anywhere you go. People will look at you pretty funny if you don't.
Are restaurants open yet?
What's that?
Restaurants open yet?
For takeout, to my knowledge, is takeout only. Retail open back up. I'm not sure if restaurants are cleared yet or not. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't go to them, so I'm a firm believer in eating real food at home. So save all those science experiments for the rest of you guys if you want. But
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like I said, here in Indiana, I think there's something like, we got 38,000 cases, and there's been 200 deaths, I think, statewide. My county, last count, I think only had 12 cases and no deaths. So, you know, it's like, but we did have graffiti written on the Walmart walls, you know, about, you know, with a big Black Lives Matters painted on there, you know. So even my little town of Jasper's got affected by it all, you know.
we had a store here get tagged and they didn't even spell it right. But yeah, they probably could have looked around and seen 5 people with shirts wearing, you know, that had them on. I'd assume.
I mean, this thing's gone around the world now. Now, am I missing something? Was Winston Churchill racist? Because in England, they're vandalizing his statue. You know?
I don't know the history on him, but
I don't think he liked the German people.
I don't like the place either.
history. Aren't we going to be bound to kind of repeat the same mistake?
Hey, as I've always said, I don't like I lived in Germany for almost 2 years. They're okay. They're all right, but I don't know. There's something about them.
They're funny.
You know, the French. Now, the French. Don't get me started on the French. France is a beautiful country, except for the French. You know? I mean, now Paris is a dirty country. I mean, a dirty city. Don't believe that it's nice. It ain't. Yeah, go on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You know, I like France when it was called Normandy. Or, you know, Germany. Just because, you know, at least the French weren't wanting it.
Yeah. Oh, Sabrina says, here is a big issue. The mayor of Amsterdam can lose her position because Monday there was an anti-racism protest and she didn't manage the COVID rules. Well, how are you going to manage protesters? Like the protesters over here, I mean, besides going rioting and looting and all that.
Well, there's a difference between protesters and rioters. There is an extreme difference.
Yeah.
The problem is protesters step over the line and become rioters.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, even when you got a big protest, I have no problem with people protesting. That's what this country is known for, right? You got the freedom to do it. But even how are you going to control protesters in the COVID? You know, you got to wear your mask and stand 6 feet apart. You ain't going to. There's no way you can do it. You know,
it looks like more rioters wear masks than the protesters.
Yeah, but that's because they don't want to be identified.
Exactly.
I mean, if they're going after somebody like that in the Netherlands for that, you know, what's next? Because the dikes aren't high enough, they have to go after the architect because, you know, they didn't build them high enough. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, is it possible the mayor wasn't using a mask or something like that out, speaking to the public or something? Is that what it is? Or is it?
I don't know. Sabrina hasn't gone in any more detail.
Protesters in a sense. Obviously, you control yourself and the staff or whatever, and put a general order out or whatever recommendation. But
yeah.
Evil.
The Rhode Island governor's in serious trouble. She issued another order that she was extending it to July, the stay-at-home orders and stuff, and she was caught out and about she was out sort of like out with it looked like she was partying with a bunch of people with no mask on, standing shoulder to shoulder, so I think she's in trouble. I mean, you can't tell the people to do something and you don't follow it yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Lead by example.
Okay. In other cities they manage, everyone protests 1.2 meters from each other. And some cities decided how many people are welcome to the protest. Yeah. So how did they get them to stay 1.2 meters apart is what I want to know. They're very law-abiding citizens.
Everybody.
Isn't that only like 4 feet?
No, a meter. A meter is what? Just over 3 foot.
Yeah, 3 feet 6 inches.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Oh no, she says 1.5 meters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a mistype on her part. She said no, 1.5.
Is it a crime in the Netherlands to, was that like a police order or a recommendation, or how was that put out to the public?
Well, the people have to follow the COVID-19 rules. They have.
Okay. Or have to implies there's a penalty if not.
So is there a penalty if you don't follow them? Can you get arrested out there, Sabrina? If you don't follow the guidelines, are they rules or guidelines?
Yeah.
For me, a guideline is just something you should follow, but it's not legally binding type thing.
Well, last time I was in Amsterdam, I was walking down the street. This was before my wheelchair, and this guy was walking backwards in a huge crowd and just bumped right into me. But he was walking backwards. He followed me for about a half a mile, telling me I spilled his heroin seeds. And he had dreadlocks. I finally went in the police department. I'm like, this bum won't leave me alone. And they're like, well, both of you get out of the police station and settle it yourself. So I went out of the police station. I popped him in the nose and walked off. I mean, it was just unbelievable that the police would not help.
Yeah.
But if they saw you popping him in the nose, they would have arrested you for causing violence.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, he was insisting I pay him, $50 for poppy seeds, and I wasn't going to pay for poppy seeds.
He wanted you to pay for his little stint in the coffee shop, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's legal over there, so all that good stuff. Anyway, here's a question for you guys and out in the audience. My quiz from last week, I had exactly 2 entries, and one of them was wrong. So, do I give it to the one correct answer, or do I run it again? What do you think?
I give it to the correct answer.
Yeah, winner by default.
Okay, winner by default. Now, I don't think he's in the chat today. The winner by default, believe it or not, is Sean Connery. So, he's the winner.
At least it's not unknown user.
No, it's not.
So what was the answer to your quiz?
Oh, the quiz was what? Hang on, let me bring up. I asked what sidearm, handgun did General George Custer use in the Battle of the Little Bighorn? And there was a pair of them, and he gave one to his brother Tom. And the answer I found, he was carrying a Webley Royal Irish Constabulary revolver. That's
Bulldog.
what he was carrying.
Bulldog revolver.
Now, I think there's a difference. This was the British Irish Constable revolver. It wasn't a Bulldog. There is a difference. I haven't looked them up, but Sean told me there was a difference when he was talking to me the other day. So, all right, here's the winner. Okay, now for this next one, for the next swag pack. And this might be the last one I'm going to do for the summer because it's so quiet and everything else. Plus, I'm running out of swag. I still got a little bit left, but I might only do it sort of like every other week or something, a quiz. But this one, what I want to know, right? I want to know. Hang on, what was okay? The British Home Guard. Here's one for you. The British Home Guard was issued this firearm. But this firearm.
Right, nobody entered, Rick.
Hey,
no one cares about what's going on over there.
Now, there's an American twist to this question. I'm saying the British Home Guard in the Second World War were issued these firearms because better and newer ones were invented. But they had these, and the British Home Guard got them. It was invented by U.S. Army Colonel Isaac Newton Lewis. So I want to know what gun he invented.
I think I know the answer to that one.
You know? So that's all I want to know. And it was, and I give you, I'm making it real easy for you. It was invented in 1911. So the actual firearm was used in World War I, II, the Korean War. But what I want to know is what was it? It was used, and it was mainly during the Second World War. It was issued to the British Home Guard because the British military in World War II were issued. Is it the Bren machine gun? You know, BREN.
Yeah.
So that's the question. Email me at rickslife@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get it to me by 12 noon next Saturday. That's Eastern time. And you'll be in for the chance for the swag pack.
Yeah, you just got an email, Rick.
You've got mail.
Okay. Oh, Sean, did you hear that you won the contest? Because yours was the only correct answer. So you win the swag pack. So, all right. I got an email, have I?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Hey, I've got one real quick.
Okay.
That most of all the people that are actually hospitalized with COVID-19 have a lack of a deficiency in vitamin D.
So you know what that means? Go outside, people.
Yep.
Or you can buy that.
Take supplements
right off the shelf.
Yep. Either way, 20 minutes outside or buy the supplement.
That's right.
So could we actually deduce that people who are getting this aren't going outside, and if they're not going outside, they're probably not that active. So a healthier lifestyle in general might just, help prevent this.
Yeah. And also, did you hear that 3 of the 4 doctors who wrote that last study where they said hydrochloroquine wasn't as good as they said, they badmouthed it in this study. They just said that the information that study was based on could not be verified. So it was false news. So hydrochloroquine is okay to take. But hey, you notice the main media didn't bring that up.
Oh, I think the issue because
narrative,
the hydrochloroquine's been used for years. There's nothing wrong with it. It's whatever they're mixing it with or combining it with, I think, was the big issue.
Yeah, I mean, I take it. I've been taking it for 4 years now for my arthritis. Maybe that's why I haven't caught COVID-19 because I've been on it for 4 years. 200 milligrams twice a day.
That's the ultimate prepper there, Rick.
Yeah.
Say you've been preparing.
And I just got a brand new supply. So if anybody wants any, give me a price, and then we might negotiate. Oh, all right. Anything else, guys? So we got the COVID-19 figured out that it's still there, but I think, back to what I was saying, I'm glad in some ways the protesters happening because it's showing that, I don't think it's going to spike. Yeah, I think it's going to be a few cases, but it's no worse than any. I mean, all hospitals now, I think around the country can cope with it now. That's what they were mainly scared of was the health system getting overrun by people wanting ventilators and stuff, and they didn't have them. Now we have so many, we're sending them overseas. So
Yep.
I think that's the main problem. So if you look at it on the other side, I think it's just going to be another thing just like the flu, basically. It's never going to go away. It's always going to be here. I mean, we're going to have a flu season. We're going to have a COVID-19 season. That's just the way it's going to be. So that's all I'm saying. That's my opinion. Anyway, so let's get back to normal. Fuck the new normal.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I sent that email to Squib. He's got that snippet from last week. You're good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. I like his hashtag. Hashtag it's not about you.
Yeah, hashtag it's not about you. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, guys. Let me go through the panel here. We're winded up. I'll go feed the cats and figure out what I'm going to have for dinner.
Oh, man.
So, all right. We'll start with Guns and Barbecue. Any shout outs or plugs?
I don't know if I'll be here Wednesday, so anybody that does pay attention to my channel, first off, thank you. But I'm having surgery on Thursday. I'm trying to get a bunch of videos made in the meantime and just schedule them to, come out throughout the week and things like that. But if for some reason all of a sudden I'm kind of inactive, that's why.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No problem. I was just reading Sean's thing. He said, I just got back from the first gun show of the year here. He lives in Houston. Passed on 3 10mm 1911s and 4 Thompsons. Why? Were they too expensive? But anyway, okay. Jason Stewart, you got any shout outs or plugs?
No, it's been a great show, Rick. Thanks for the invite. And yeah, the new normal sucks. Let's go back to the old way.
That's right. That's right. Willed and Well Armed. Any plugs or shout outs?
Yeah, I should be releasing a new video on a CZ. CZ I haven't displayed before, so that should drop tomorrow. Besides that, no, I'm just trying to stay home, stay healthy, and play with the family and kids.
Okay. I got a question for you. It might be being nosy, but all these gun videos, these new guns you get, are you borrowing them or are you actually buying them?
I bought them.
Okay. I'm not trying to pry into your business, but I just want to, but to have that many gun videos, damn, you got a nice collection, I tell you. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway. New York Outcast, any plugs or shout outs?
Working on a video with basically a test with 9mm in my target stand. So I should have that out shortly. But that's basically it. Other than that, thanks for having me. Sorry I was late, and hopefully everybody has an enjoyable day. And you should get outside at some point and get healthy, even if you just sit outside, soak in the sun, get the fresh air. It's helpful for all of us people.
Yeah, and you get that. Now, is it vitamin or vitamin?
Vitamin D.
But yeah.
See, now in England it's vitamin.
I got a tan challenge. If you can beat my tan, I'll send you $5.
Night Strike. Any shout outs or plugs? Talk to me, Night Strike. Hit the mute button. Come on, where are you going? He's left us.
I'm not here. No, I'm still here. I'm here.
You don't handshake anymore. You do the elbow thing. Fuck you. That's right. You're looking up that, so you did cut out that clip, huh?
Yes, I cut that one out because that was perfect, Rick. That's all I have to say today because that's just it's perfect.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up in the chat on this beautiful sunny afternoon here in Southern Indiana, where all the prizes that were won in the last week. I got the envelopes here. I'll be going to the mailbox on Monday to mail those to the post office to get them all out to you. So I just want to say thank you for being here. I'll be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Shooting with Disabilities or anything else that crosses my mind. But that's what I try to keep the topic on. We've done quite well last week, I think, keeping it on topic. And I thought today's show was pretty good, So.
Oh, hey, Rick, before we head out here, I think Black Cat posted a video today, maybe yesterday, talking about the rally in PA. It was canceled, but from what he was saying in that video, apparently some people are still trying to have something happen on Monday. So if anybody's still interested in going, I believe he said something about maybe a speaker from the GOA or something. But if anybody goes over to Black Cat's channel and watch that video, you'll be able to get better information than what I'm, spewing out here. But I just wanted to let people know that apparently there's a, grassroots rally that's going to happen still.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that video he put out about that. So it's going to be sort of like, as you said, a grassroots. Now let's see. So are you? I'm trying to think of the correct wording for this. Are you afraid that might be that the police there might think you're protesting?
I don't think if I was there, I'd be afraid of that. I don't think so. G Webs and I actually had a pretty interesting conversation about this the other night, and he made the point, there is a difference in a rally and a protest, and he's absolutely right on that. When you're going to a rally, it's, kind of trying to bring up morale and stuff, and, protesting, it's normally people that are angry and things like that. But I think the bigger issue was just everything else that's going on. They were afraid of confrontation with another group, whether it's Antifa or, rioters of some sort. And that's actually what I would be more afraid of.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I saw an article. I don't know if it was fake news or not, but a town in California, Antifa said, "Don't mess with us, or there'll be consequences." And the Hells Angels said, "Bring it on." Oh, I love this. But there we go.
The Latin Kings also said, to the police, Yeah, don't worry about this area. We'll take care of this area.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna end it here. Well, thank you to everybody in the crowd. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you all Wednesday. And since Patriot is not here, I'm going to have to do it and say goodbye, Sabrina.